As you know, I like to interact with people who follow me, whether it's Twitter or here on YouTube or even Facebook. The reason for that, it's a two-way street, isn't it? It's no point me just talking, howling at the moon, is it? I need to know what you're thinking. And quite often, someone on YouTube, for instance, has made a statement that I've shared to my Twitter. I've screenshot it from YouTube. I haven't put his name up, obviously. But in response to talking about Tony Blair and his legacy, as you know, he changed the civil service, so they're all his men in there. So what we really need is someone who can get hold of Westminster, Whitehall and the rest of it and turn that around. And that's on the plan, that's on the to-do list of the Reform Party, absolutely. Why do you think they've brought Zia in? Why do you think they've brought somebody in that's used to tech? Moving forward with AI and technology, they can completely transform the civil service. These pen pushers up and down with the files, this is going to come to an end. So if you get the right people in, savvy people who are on the right side of politics, you can undo a lot of the damage that Tony Blair has done. You know, when that bloke said to me years ago, Tony Blair still runs Britain, I'm sad to say it's basically true. We just get a different set of front men every so often that we can batter and have a go at and abuse, you know, tell them they're no good at the job. But realistically, the underbelly, as I said yesterday, it's all still the same. I'm going to read you this comment out from YouTube. The structural changes to the way the UK is governed, made under the Blair administration, disempowered Parliament and created quangos to take on parliamentary responsibilities. Quangos staffed at great expense by those that support the Tony Blair project. As his advisor, Peter Mandelston, said, "The age of democracy is over." He wasn't lying. The only way to allow for representative parliamentary democracy is to completely reverse Blair's reforms and then address the fact that Labour got a massive majority with only 1 in 5 electorates voting for them. That's so savvy, isn't it? That's someone just watching my YouTube. That's what I love about this. It's not all about me and my insight. It's about what you bring to me. Because I've sent that to Nigel Farage and I've sent that to several MPs. I've sent it to Lee and I've sent it to I haven't got as much rapport with Lee. A couple of words with him once. I shouldn't have done that. My roots need doing. But the thing is, that'll fly through WhatsApp now with loads of different people that I've sent it to. Journalists, and it's true, and it highlights Mandelson. And the reason for doing that is going to be made the ambassador to the US. So people need to know what makes him tick, don't they? In case they've missed what makes him tick, because it's painfully obvious. And, you know, that is very important. And this is why I go on about not being so focused on the Tommy and Nigel narrative. It's not good, but it's not one of the main problems. The main problems are so profound in this country, like the bill that they're trying to get through Parliament on the 24th, I think it is. Can't say too much about its content because of the platform I'm on, but you can imagine it's got to do with the weather and the far-reaching implications of this bill are dire. Thankfully, I've got one of my gurus from the Brexit days who used to read all the difficult documents, and I could say to him, what does this actually mean? And I'd read it, and he'd say, no, you've got it wrong, Jean, because I don't understand political speak. I do a lot more now, but I didn't then. And this chap is called John. He read the withdrawal agreement. He understands it. You can quote your passages from the Bible. The man's a blooming genius. He's a godsend. So I'm going to find his response to the bill that I put up on my on Twitter and Facebook, that many bloody channels, and I'll give you a breakdown of how he sees it. I might have to miss odd words out because of like censorship. Thanks for sending me this, June. I've had a quick look through it and access to the bill as presented at the first reading, so skeletal they usually are at a first reading, but there's not much change for the second reading. This is its second reading on the 24th. That is the same PDF as the link on the post, so I presume it to be the same. I double checked to confirm I was looking at the same file. Of his 5 bullet points, only the first has clauses and terms actually mentioned in the bill. The rest is assumption or even speculation. And since the bill is quite skeletal, I don't know where Chris got his information from. He simply makes a statement. Moreover, it's the term sustainability in point 2. It's not even mentioned in the bill. Initially applicable to England, if passed, it would need to be approved by the devolved governments to become law there anyway. The MP, interestingly, proposing the bill, wait for it, Alex Sopel is an ex-social worker, ex-councillor and a activist. So that says it all really, doesn't it? I know that Chris is interim chairman for Reform UK, and he doesn't think it's anything to worry about. Now, that's his interpretation because it's skeletal. There's not much detail in it. But I took that to Chris, and Chris had another look and he said, but the thing is, June, it's skeletal, so they can use it like a Dropbox. Boom, boom, boom. And if they get it passed, they can just pop stuff into it at any one time. So, my next guru that I went to, who's obviously politically very savvy, otherwise I won't keep asking him. You see what I do, because I'm not clever enough to know everything about everything. Nobody is, are they? But and I've always done it through my life, is when I see people who are doing something that I admire or I want to do, I want to maybe do that for myself, or there's something going on I want to find out about, I kind of collect people that will help me in that sphere, and they're all in my WhatsApps and they're all in my phone. And so if I struggle, I tend to refer to, I'll maybe contact 3 or 4 people on a topic to see what their feedback is, to work out where my brain was going in the first place. Was I on the right track? Was I on the wrong track? And if I'm on the wrong track, should I change? And I think that's the best way to find out where you're heading in any form of life, whether it's politics or moving house, sorting your kids out, booking a wedding. It's the same ethos. So the other political guru that I sent it to, he's a little bit terribly, he's pleasantly posh, very, very nice. And he said, I've got to do it in his accent, I don't know why. I think it's simply a case of educating people about the realities of what's behind this bill. But the reality is that the Labour Party, has such a large majority, it can do what it wants. And the only hope is to put in place effective legislation to reverse the policies once a new government gets into power. So basically, the Tory party can do what they want with what they want because they've got this huge majority. Now, if you want to play a blame game, blame the apathetic that didn't vote, because that's the only reason Labour got in. Because low turnout, but a lot turned out for Labour because they were sick at Tories. And the ones that were sick at Tories but not Labour won't vote for anybody. So that's how we got here. A bit different kettle of fish next time round. So the thing is that even if this bill does pass, it can get repealed. But currently we have 5 MPs. Lee, Nigel, James, Rupert, and what's the other one? Ticey, Richard, who will all be against this bill. They won't vote that in. And these people are quite serious characters who will get the ear of other MPs. So we have to see how that goes. But I've every confidence they'll push back with this, absolutely. I think that realistically, it's just yet another thing, isn't it, from Labour? They're just at it all the time. And I mean, I had to laugh. There were a picture of what she called Rachel from Accounts in China, shaking hands with Mr. China. And it said, oh, look, here's Rachel from Accounts selling Britain to China. I thought that was funny. You've got to have a laugh while you're moving along. Otherwise, I mean, I'd go insane if I didn't have a laugh while I were doing it. Good grief, it's just some bloody stuff I see. But during the course of events, as I was pondering my research and managing to keep off that disgraced former Labour MP with all the porn stuff on his timeline that's followed by Gordon Brown and Rachel from Accounts, you couldn't make it up. There's somebody in Westminster and they're getting the right stuff in today for running, because what happens with these politicians, they don't run their own social media, someone else runs it and puts stuff up that they approve of. But Who's allowed Gordon Brown to follow this nitwit with nudie stuff on it? It's worse than nudie. It's pay-per-view stuff on his account. I don't know if you've seen it. Ivor Kaplan. I've thrown my cap in more like. Mind-blowing, but not necessarily that important. Could be the sacrificial lamb, couldn't it, for the Labour Party? Let's get talking about this white nonce instead of talking about grooming gangs. They'd prefer that, wouldn't they? Anyway, Rachel from accounts was still following him at 12 noon yesterday. Someone screenshot it, got the time. It's evil, isn't it, Twitter? Makes me laugh. So because I was worried when I was going to bed last night, biting my bed covers, what's going to happen to my house? My garden, I don't want to rewild it. I love mowing my lawn. Well, I don't mow it. I started doing a bit of research. I am not joking, there are some MPs in their seat with only 20 vote majority. 20! I've had more at a Tupperware party. And they're in power. And in fact, even the cabinet, what's she called? Jess Phillips. Jess Phillips is only in power with about 600 votes. So you see, when people misunderstand me going on about emailing, Jean's boring, she's always going on about emailing. And she won't go to a rally. No, I won't. I've got bloody knee problems, bad feet, and I'm not traipsing to London, booking in a hotel, getting a train and all that bollocks to stand in the street, waving a banner and come back home and notes change. I'd rather get to it. I can contact loads of people when I'm on here. Anyway, that's going off the boil. But what I found out, there's about 5 MPs. I put the link up on my social media. It's a BBC link who's done a story at the last election where about 5 MPs got 18 vote majority, 20 vote majority, 27 vote majority, and even the cabinet have only got 500 and 600 majority. Now, the relevance of this is sit yourself down in the MP's shoes and start off from this position. They're not bothered about you. They're not interested in you and where you want your public toilets moving in, Gwent or wherever the hell you're from. What they're interested in is keeping the seat because it's a bloody good earner. It's a licence to print money, isn't it? It might not be like a super dupe wage, but by the time you put your expenses through and eat all free food and travel and hotels and second home electric bills, you are on a right crisp. Anyway, with these low majorities, put yourself in their shoes. So whatever the subject matter is that you're fed up about, imagine with an MP with, say, let's do a sensible 500 majority. Let's do Jess Phillips. So Jess Phillips comes out with some bullshit and you think, I'm not happy about that. So you type an email out, but you type one from your husband, you type one from your adult kid, you get your neighbours to do it, you get people in your local area to do it. Imagine if she got 700 emails, 700, 200 more than a majority. She knows those 700 people won't vote for her. She's out. She's out. That's how it equates. And I know it works because I did it when I stopped non-stunned, not me on my own, non-stunned halal meat being sold to schools across Lancashire so that all kids were eating non-stunned halal meat. We won. We won because we stuck to the reality of it being about animal rights and we didn't go anywhere near religion. It's nothing to do with religion, it's to do with the animal having the best care it can have. But by the same token, when we emailed, and we emailed people in councils with low majorities, you should have seen them jump to the gun because they knew that, well, hang on a minute, I'm going to lose my seat. It's the same ethos. If we could only get the people, if 50,000 people turn up for a march, imagine if 50,000 people emailed and constituencies were getting 5,000 emails on a topic and 4,000 emails on a topic and they're only in with 900 majority. Believe me, there's SPAD or AID that reads those emails. They don't have to be short. You don't want long ones, you don't read long ones. Forget it. If you think you've written a right good piece, forget it. They're not impressed. They don't care if you can write like Tolstoy. They're not interested. They're interested in staying on the gravy train and having a ticket for the next ride. That's what they're interested in. So we have got so much power, but we don't use it because we prefer to go down to London and wave a banner and end up in a pub. That's more appealing. And then come away at day after having had a right good time and nothing changed. That's how I see it. I'm sorry, don't shoot me. I just know that if we spent more time, why do you think the left are in power? Why do you think the left get their own way? Why do all these bills come to pass? Because they're more active, because they've been doing what I'm suggesting for years. They've been lobbying people and getting their own way. They've done it right throughout the system, the universities, the BBC, everything. Ofcom now. What happens to GB News? Why are they so under the cosh? Because the left are emailing Ofcom all the time. Every single day they email a complaint about GB News. Every day. I couldn't be bothered to live like that, could you? But that's what they do, because their goal is to get GB News shut down. Their goal is to stifle advertising so that GB News don't get enough income coming in, and eventually they'll have to pack up because they're living off investors, venture capitalists. That's the goal. That's how they work it. And they're tenacious and they're very, very good at it. And we blew the socks off when we won Brexit because we weren't even campaigning. We were sat back in Benidorm watching fat people swill beer down their bellies. Watching them have full English breakfast. I bloody love a full English, don't you? Especially with a bit of black pudding. We were busy just getting on, weren't we? What's wrong with that? That's how you're supposed to live, isn't it? But the left, they don't live like that. They're always doing something. And we still won, despite the fact we weren't campaigning as much, despite the fact the main body of the public didn't even know what Brexit about, but they just knew it was dodgy. That's how I got going with blogging. We still won. We still won. It was organic. They call it organic, don't they, in marketing? It's an organic following that June's got. Someone's talking about the other day saying that my following's organic. That means I haven't paid for you to follow me. I'm not paying any bugger to follow me. I'll do what I do. You can either like it or go. It doesn't matter, does it? I'm doing this for us, not for fame, gain or anything else. So I do think that we are making such a lot of inroad, and it's so important to support reform. I have slagged them off uphill and down Dale when they first started because I didn't like the setup. Nigel wasn't back, and it was just the way I felt about the way they were doing things. But, as you know, in politics, a week is a long time, or a day is a bloody long time at the moment. And I see the difference now. They've got their act together and they're growing. Now, this business of the party being democratised, I've spoken to the, I think it's the deputy chair of the North West, and as he said, quite rightly so, he said we need to get the branches organised first. And when we say branches, I'm not a member, but when people talk about branches, it's not a physical place, it's not an office building or a room somewhere. A branch is a group of people getting together to somewhere to drop leaflets off so people can deliver them, a contact point. So that's what they mean by branches. Now, a new party like Reform, if they don't have some sort of control until they get the branches up, people will just join the branches at branch level and completely scupper any goals that they hope to achieve. It's happened to other parties. And don't forget, it's brought the Tories to their knees, this sort of infiltration, because they're infiltrated by the Liberals. And Labour's infiltrated by Momentum. And that's why everything's in a flaming mess. So I think I actually completely disagree with Ben Habib about having to rectify reform. It is not a national problem. It's only a problem for people within reform. And if it's good enough for people ploughing the money into it, it's good enough for me. Because I'm only going to vote for them. That's all they're getting off me. And I will put my time and effort in to explaining politics, because I do see them as the only thing that's going to be available in time for us to do anything. Because the same reasons I've said many times. You need a face, you've got one, it's Nigel's, use it, let him have a go, let him get further forward. He cannot be worse than what we've got, and he is going to be better. Whether he measures up on every single front, the guy is misquoted so much, and people who are already angry with him over the Tommy situation, they want to misquote him. You know, they're all over social media saying, he says Shamama Begum can come back in. No, he didn't. He didn't say that at all. I put the video, it's on my YouTube here. He never said that. He handled it like a perfect diplomat. He handled it like a politician should. He repeated what Gawker had suggested. Gawker had forewarned them of a possible danger. Even he wasn't backing it. Even he says he's been misquoted. But no, the people who want to put you off reform, and especially Nigel Farage, want to misinterpret what he's saying. I don't care. If I thought he'd said that and he was backing the idea, I'd be on here saying, I think he's got this wrong, he's bloody bonkers. I'm nobody's yes man. Not a bloody chance. You ask my husband. I can't keep it shut. I can't believe you listen to me. I do think, because there's a lack of understanding of how politics works, people see it superficially. Like the people wrapped up with the Tommy and Nigel thing. You see, the media will love that. Oh, the media are lapping it up, man. They love it because they want to. I saw an outtake. It's not a clip that's gone out. It's an outtake. Somebody sent it to me. Nigel being interviewed. Somebody going on about Tommy Robinson again. And he said, can we move on to something else? He sighed and he was exasperated but polite. And he just said, can we move on to something else? It's the media that's pushing it. Got to remember, the media are the blob. The media are the ones that lied about Brexit. The media are the ones with your Adam Boltons and your Beth Rigbys and all the other bloody clowns we've had to listen to that said things like Nissan were going to shut down and they didn't, and we won't get any ferries across the channel, because of Brexit, to bring us food and supplies. That was just another lie. They haven't changed. And Nigel Farage is still, he's the bulldozer. He's always been the bulldozer. He was the bulldozer with Brexit. He's the bulldozer with trying to become a better government. They want him stamped out and trying to make some sort of allegiance. It keeps you off the topics of the real stuff you should be asking Nigel about, and it creates division. They'll love it. They're up for it. It's their thing. Tommy don't want to go to Reform. Reform don't want Tommy. Why are we discussing it? Why is it even a thing? Now, Tommy Campbell said because Nigel keeps throwing him under a bus. Yeah, every time somebody brings it up, Nigel does the same thing. So that's going to happen. Whether you like it or not, that is going to happen. That's the choice he's made. He doesn't want the distraction of Tommy Robinson in Reform. And it would be a distraction. They've got to avoid all sorts of distractions. Imagine if a character like Elton John joined Reform. The focus every time Nigel opened his mouth would be what Elton John thought about everything, wouldn't it? Even if it's on a nice, positive, friendly way. All they'd want to talk about is Elton John, Elton John, Elton John. Well, in a negative form, that's what they would do with Tommy Robinson. And that's what they want to. They want to gel these two sides together. And unfortunately, a lot of the commentators I see, the Conservative commentators, they're just, I can't believe it. They're all men, by the way. I'm not saying that that's anything. Also slagging Nigel off, yet knowing full well they've nothing else to offer. And whatever it is they're coming up with isn't going to work because they're not far enough down the line with it. So, as usual, Nigel Farage, years of pressure, takes it on the chin, consummate professional, don't get everything right. I'd like him to have set off from the get-go saying, I don't want to discuss Tommy Robinson, thank you. But even if he did that, I saw some old footage, and even when he's doing that, saying he doesn't want to discuss it, they're still yak, 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 that you've got to remember, I honestly see them as talentless hacks. That's how I see them. They're not proper journalists. They don't know how to find news. All they do, half of them only troll through bloody Twitter. That's not being a reporter, is it? Do you remember we used to have people like Cook and McIntyre? What happened to them? They'd never have uncovered Watergate with this bunch, would they? They'd never have found out Nixon were a nut job. And as I say, the good news really, I think, is that, you don't need to worry about Elon Musk and Nigel and President Trump. Nigel's good friend with President Trump and half his flipping cabinet. And Elon's new to the game, isn't he? He's new to Twitter. He just bought it, 18 months, 2 years ago. He's brilliant. He's highlighting stuff. He's put something out about Facebook, actually, that I love because I was a Facebooker that got so many bans. And he said, yeah, it's all right that, he's retweeted someone that said this, that Zuckerberg's coming clean now about accepting censorship from the government over the lockdown era. Yeah, but that's all right saying that. How many people's decisions were made because sensible information was censored? It's all right looking at that. Oh, Mark Zuckerberg decided to play clean now. He should have been playing clean from first place, shouldn't he? And that's why Elon Musk has retweeted this guy's statement, which has now had 11 million views. When Elon turns around and says, "You are the news," you are the news, like that little draft that I read out before, it was just a statement on my YouTube channel on a previous video. Look at it now. It's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, it's in my WhatsApp. Boom, we're out there. We don't need the news. We certainly don't need Piers Morgan. He's a YouTuber now, isn't he? That kills me. He's got the same job as me. Ha! He gets paid a lot more because he has a lot more following. But didn't he mess around with some photographs, some soldiers and that, in Afghanistan or somewhere? And that poor girl that got killed, messing around with her phones. Well, this isn't a good bloke, is it? Anyway, I believe he's going to interview Tommy when he comes out, and apparently that's a bit of a coup for Paul Thorpe. So, and I'm sure Paul Thorpe, as a friend of Tommy, will have his best interests at heart and make sure, you know, what physical and mental health is in before he goes in an arena with Chubby Chops, what's he called? Piers Morgan. I think he likes a few pies, that boy. I like a pie. So that's it. I'm running over time now. I said it was going to be a quick one. Why do I bother saying that? It never is. So that's me bringing you up to date with what's going on. I'm a little bit reassured about the bill. It's probably going to happen, but it's going to take a long time to get teeth. And in the meantime, reform are growing and we're getting near it. You know, we're 2025. Time's moving on. I think that film I put up before, I think that's extraordinary, don't you? That is really class work. So just an amateur guy off Twitter who's done it. Fantastic. So keep on keeping on. And don't forget, it's never too late. It's never, ever too late. You don't give up. I don't give up. We keep at it.